Welcome to our 13th Smissmas together. Although, when the event started back in 2010, we actually called this Australian Christmas for a few years. We didn't actually start using the word Smissmas until 2013, so 10th Smissmas together? 2023 was an interesting year for the Team Fortress community, due in no small part to Eric Smith and Joshy's hard work on attempting to get the VScript system working directly with the matchmaker. And after some fits and starts with versus Saxton Hale, it works very well. Summer, Scream Fortress, and now Smissmas have all been, on average, significantly larger than the last 7 or so years of community updates, with a strong focus on playable maps, filling out the gameplay segment. And now that the community has the tools to create their own game modes and game rules, that group of maps is significantly more inventive and novel for the longtime Team Fortress player, myself included. Over the summer, we had versus Saxton Hale. Over Halloween, we had the zombie game mode. And now this holiday, we have Krampus, or as I want to call it, Krampus. 10 new maps have shipped with this update, along with the normal bevy of cosmetics and unusual effects. No war paints, as we predicted. But again, let's focus on the maps. The playable content that we've seen far exceeds the quality that we have seen in prior years. This is not Dario Casali just picking at random, resulting in things like Whatville. These are being playtested to a small extent before being pushed out, and due to the V-scripting system, we're allowed to have custom bosses or custom game modes, as we will discuss. Galleria is my favorite map this year. It's a reskin of Nucleus, but it takes the idea of a holiday reskin far, far further than Valve ever did. It transforms Nucleus into a player destruction game mode, and art passes the map to a point where it is nearly unrecognizable as its original layout. This art passing is insane. Some of the best custom assets I have ever seen for a Team Fortress map, heavily steeped within in-jokes that only hardcore community members can enjoy if they know, but otherwise still can enjoy because it's great. The map takes place in a mall, a shopping mall circa late 1960s, early 1970s, and the players compete to gather gifts to put underneath the central Christmas tree on the ice rink found within the mall. The team to deliver the most gifts at the end of the round wins, with the caveat being that these gifts are actually gift-wrapped containers of gasoline to fuel up the rocket disguised as a Christmas tree. Although the layout of the map is mirrored, the art passing is not a mirrored recolor that you normally expect to see. Instead, you have different shops, movie theaters, restaurants, food courts that you would normally expect to see out of a mall, scattered all throughout the map, all of them themed around something within the Team Fortress community. The movie theater is showing a bunch of Team Fortress themed movies complete with posters. The different stores sell items that the mercs would probably want, or the mercs themselves might be hawking in their spare time. The attention to detail in this map is unmatched by almost anything I have ever seen in this game, and the game mode itself is one of my favorite implementations of player destruction to date, going so far as to replace the announcer with their own custom mall greeter announcer over an intercom, announcing when gifts are being accepted or when the ice rink is being resurfaced due to all those bullet holes. It's a 10 out of 10. It is my favorite map by far in this update. Krampus, or Krampus, is the fan favorite. It's the one that everybody knew was going to be getting in. It's a fairly simple Bavarian-inspired King of the Hill map with a brand new boss. It's very interesting to have its connection to historical folklore of the holiday season, and the boss fight itself is, while simple, very fun. The game, however, does not lock PvP combat, so joining up both teams to fight the boss is not a lot of players' priorities, and I also feel that the boss spawns too frequently. Personally, I would like to see the boss spawn once per round at the midpoint of a countdown timer. Instead, players can expect to see Krampus show up at least 3 times within a game mode. When the boss shows up, although PvP is not disabled, the countdown timer for the capture point is, prolonging each game mode significantly more than it needs to be. The map has winding paths near the spawn and one large central area with verticality in buildings. The boss, Krampus, can only explore that central area, which makes sense for the AI not spawn camping, but does cause cheesing the boss to be quite easy. Just hide behind the invisible wall that Krampus can't go behind. I enjoy some of the attack patterns of this boss, specifically when Krampus causes it to rain fiery coal all throughout the map. It's an excellent experience. It's incredibly polished, complete with brand new voice acting for the boss himself. I love it. I just feel like it needs tuned a bit more to allow game modes to flow a bit easier. 8 out of 10. Carrier. This reminds me of a Scream Fortress map we had a few years ago where 2 giant robots would battle it out while the teams continued to play Team Fortress 2. Carrier is a V-script based attack defend game mode where one team controls a giant robot trying to deposit a bomb at the red team's capture point. The giant robot can be controlled by anyone, and it is effectively chosen by whomever is in the spawn at the time the giant robot dies, because it's infinitely respawning for as long as the game timer ticks down. Once the giant robot dies, the bomb immediately spawns back in the spawn point, and whomever is standing on the bomb at the time takes control of the giant robot. And the giant robot can be any of the 9 classes, complete with their normal attack patterns. You really are just a sized up version of your normal class self. The map is fairly choky, especially on point 1 with its verticality, based on just walking wooden planks up the hill. Although I would argue that those choke points are likely to filter the giant robot through and allow the enemy to attack said giant robot. It's okay. There are some viz issues, especially when playing sniper, allowing specific players to hide within buildings that are area portaled off, causing the doorway to be blackened out, yet players are still behind said doorway. That should be fixed immediately. And the announcer announces an impending loss for both teams, meaning if blue team is about to capture the point, blue team will be warned of the impending loss. Very hectic once things get going. Enjoyable more for red team, because fighting the robot is significantly more fun than trying to defend the robot, and the layout, especially on point 1, might need some tweaks, maybe a few more pathways to allow the team to get to the higher areas of this vertically based first point. 7 out of 10. Turbine Center is the prettiest map that was added. I'm not sure if TF2 Maps or the Emporium released a mall asset pack, but there were a lot of mall-based maps on the workshop this year. All for it. They look fantastic. Turbine Center is not only a mall, but also an office building connected to the mall, where one team's side is more themed around an office building, and the other team's side is more themed around a shopping center. However, this is a traditional capture the flag version of Turbine that has a mall-themed reskin. The central point has a train that circles around a Christmas tree. You can die by getting run over by the train. However, it seems as if a lot of the game modes that I match into playing this map have players treating it almost like a trade map. It definitely looks the part, but trying to find a game mode on Turbine Center where people are actually playing the game seems to be the most difficult of the entire set of maps. It is still just Turbine with small tweaks, such as little pathways outside of the vents, a separate staircase to allow you to grab the health kit on the higher area running towards spawn from midpoint, and a few other smaller tweaks with resizing of different rooms, but generally it's still Turbine. It looks great, but it doesn't introduce novel gameplay in the same way that other reskins did within this same update. 7 out of 10. Harp is a classic custom map. It's been around for quite a while at this point, and it's a one-way capture the flag, also known as a traditional TFC attack defend map. Back in Team Fortress Classic, attack defend did not include standing on a control point for a set period of time. Instead, the attacking team would have one player carry a flag to an attack point, and as soon as that flag touches that point, the entire area has been captured. This plays like that. This is exactly that. One player carries the intelligence to 2 different areas on the map, captured in sequence. And the map itself has 3 different segments akin to Dust Bowl or Gold Rush. So 6 different points separated into 3 different rounds with a novel twist on a very classic style of Team Fortress gameplay. Well, red team is at a significant disadvantage 9 times out of 10, because although the game is balanced around red's respawn being right next to the last capture point, blue team respawns almost instantly. The flag takes forever to respawn back at its original point, if at all, and red team's respawn timers are the maximum almost the entire time. And while the map looks amazing and is an excellent mixture of both the Alpine Snow and Spy-Tech themings, the game mode itself doesn't play that well due to how it's balanced out, due to how there are way too many choke points for what is supposed to be a very standard game of Team Fortress 2. And although while playing blue team it can feel like beating your head against a wall, you'll eventually win because you don't have to wait around. If the flag touches the point, you have captured the point, end of story. The flag should be respawning after a certain amount of time not being touched, and the respawn timers should be balanced out. If you think the respawn timers need to be the way they are because red team's spawn is right next to last point, then move the spawns. Because as it currently plays, it feels very unbalanced, and that unbalance makes it a little less fun than it could be. 6 out of 10. Snow Tower is an interesting one. High Tower is one of those meme maps like Two Fort or Upward that everybody's playing 24/7, but almost never in the way that they're intended. High Tower is a deathmatch map in all but name, so Snow Tower, not even being a payload race map, is an excellent addition to the game. It is High Tower. It does very little to decorate itself for the season. It's just snowy High Tower. However, it's a King of the Hill map, where both of the titular towers are just static props that you can climb around now. The high platform on the center spire is now a capture point. It's a standard King of the Hill map. Very little was done to adjust sight lines between spawn points and the capture point. Usually, High Tower has players snaking around the entirety of the map and eventually having to stand on one of the towers for a significant amount of time in order to win. If all of the players are just crowded around that central spire, well, the sightlines need to be readjusted to not allow snipers to effectively just cheese the game while standing in spawn. I'm not a great sniper, and I was able to do that. The few changes to the layout, aside from the capture point itself, include wooden planks to allow classes to walk across the high towers, and static carts that just kind of block the way on different points on the train tracks. That is it. For this map to be repurposed into a completely different game mode, more changes should have been made. And for this map to be seen as a holiday reskin, more aesthetic changes should have been made. It's still a fun time, 5 out of 10. Camber is a map that really excites me, and I really couldn't wait to sink my teeth into this one. In a similar style to Phoenix, this is a beautiful display of, oh, right. Let's get another server. Camber is a map that I was very excited to sink my right. Okay. Well, you're probably wondering why this video came out so late following the release of Smissmas. It took a long time to play half of the update. Obviously something happened with the individuals that are behind the problem, and they just switched on every machine that they could possibly have, because this is the absolute worst I've ever seen it. It's not even close. This is the worst I have ever seen it. It's like they know that more players want to flock to the game when new content is shipped, especially novel gameplay content, so they try and ruin it for everybody, knowing full well that Valve software is not going to do a damn thing about it. Yeah, this update is currently unplayable, especially if you play on North American servers. I've heard that European servers aren't much better. However, the only way I was able to get any of this footage was on European servers. So it also should be stated that each one of these games that you're seeing me play took 10 to 15 different queues before I found a game that wasn't completely unplayable. Nowadays, it's not just finding a game with a bot or two in it. It's you're rolling the dice and you have a 1 in 12 shot of finding a game that's playable. The other 11 times are just filled with bots. Just filled. It's not 1 or 2, it's like 12 to 16. So obviously whatever Valve has done in the past to curb this issue, they either lied and didn't do anything, or it's not working. So that's fun. I got frustrated after days of trying to collect footage and play enough of each of these maps on a public server with normal players that you would match into, not just people who watch this channel and would steamroll me 100% of the time. The goal was to average out all the scores and give this update a score, and then I would go back to previous groups of maps and give those update scores. I'm still going to do that, but for now, public matchmaking casual mode on Team Fortress 2 is just, it's not playable. People say that, people have said that for years, but it's the first time where even I'm comfortable in saying it is truly an unplayable game. I've had a few people ask me, in response to some personal complaints on the bot issue, why I'm not just playing on community servers, and I wonder if those people actively play on just normal community servers. Like, I understand Uncle Topia is out there, and that's a great option, but for those that just want like a standard Team Fortress 2 experience of just like a wide mixture of players, both, you know, super enthusiastic or brand new to the game, yeah, community servers, especially for maps in this latest update, don't exist. If they do, they're either password protected, have no players, or they don't exist. But please buy keys, I guess. You see, that sucks, because I know that there are community members out there that worked really hard to get their content added within this update that, you know, are going to make less income from it because of the state of the game. And maybe that's the goal of these people. Has anyone else noticed that queuing into the Smissmas maps takes way longer than it used to as well? Like, it takes 2 to 3 minutes for me to find a match, and then it's like a 1 in 10 chance for that match to actually have real players on it. That's why this video took so long and it's still not done. Yay, fun. Anyways, I'm Tyler McVicker, the Passionate Gamer. I'm so sorry, but I hope you guys are gonna have a good holiday and you're having a good time. But I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes and spending some time with me, your friendly neighborhood Passionate Gamer. I'll talk to y'all later. If you want to support these videos, I have a Patreon and Float Plane. You know, don't feel like you have to, but it really, really does help me out. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Tyler McVicker, signing off. Peace and hair grease. Adios.